Okie dokie, I think we are live. Let me just double check. I think we're live. No, that's from March. Seems we're live everywhere else. It seems we're absolutely sucking diesel. We're going to turn the volume all the way down on this. I'll just have that there like that so I can keep an eye on proceedings. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April Music Career Mastermind. Welcome to the April Music Career Mastermind session. Today, I'm going to speak about how to add tutoring as a viable option for an extra revenue stream to your already existing music business, career, whatever it is, however you want to look at this. So I've got a bit of a slideshow to share with you today. If you're new here, this is the first time you've come across this and we haven't been formally introduced. My name is Barry. I run One Lab Music here in Aberdeen. I host the Music Career Show podcast on Spotify and Apple Music and Google Podcasts and all that other good stuff. And I am also a music career coach, helping you actually teaching you how to teach, basically, and how to make music work. So I'll get into all that. If anybody wants to get involved, I can see comments on Facebook right in front of me. I can see comments on YouTube. I don't think I can see comments on LinkedIn, but hey ho, if you're on LinkedIn, head on over to YouTube and make a comment there, and I'll be more than happy to address it during the course of the training. So let's have a look. See here. I was playing around with this. I'll be really impressed if this works. Just going to check to see that has actually, in fact, worked. I think it has. Hey, there we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So, adding tutoring as a revenue stream and how you can supplement your income as a musician by inspiring others to do the same. So, this is exactly how I did it. So tutoring is a really good way to supplement your income as a musician and further solidify your career as a musician. So teaching and tutoring is a really simple and straightforward sector to get into. And with the strategies that I'm going to show you today, this evening, whatever time of the day it is that you are tuning into this or watching this back, I'll be able to show you just how accessible and profitable it can be. So these are the exact steps that I took to build my own tutoring business up from 14 students initially to nearly 100 weekly students in less than 1 year. And I am, as it says, I am Barry Carroll, and my official title is The Lad from One Lab Music. That makes me sound like a bit of a gone bean, but sure, listen anyway. So let's carry on. So who am I, in case we haven't been introduced, as I said before? So my name is Barry Carroll. I'm a multi-instrumentalist originally from Ireland and based in Aberdeen in Scotland. I work with musicians all over the world to help create a sustainable and reliable careers in music. I do this through private coaching groups and masterminds such as this one, as well as one-to-one coaching, and I help other musicians achieve their goals and provide often much needed direction that us musicians naturally lack. I often think that we're just far too creative to function. There's not enough there's not enough space in our brain to be as creative as we are and also organized at the same time. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to help you with. So I host the Music Career Show, as I said, podcast which has a worldwide listenership, and I also run One Lab Music Services based here in Aberdeen. And no matter what stage you're at in your music career, I can help you build, scale, kickstart, or anything in between your music career and unlock your potential. So there's 5 steps to adding tutoring as a revenue stream. The benefits, we're going to speak about the benefits. So like, what is in it for you? So how much money you can make or how much money you can charge. How flexible can it be? What skills do you have? What skills are you going to need what skills that you already have that are going to be transferable skills in this case, and you can apply them to this. The misconceptions of becoming a music teacher. You've no qualifications. It's going to be too difficult. I have to be able to read music. We're going to address all of those. How to get started. What and who are you going to teach? Where are you going to teach it? And are you going to just add this are you going to go all in and create a business, or are you literally just going to take a handy and just do something really, really, really simple and casual? We look at both things. Then day one, what to actually do on day one of teaching. Simple as that. So we're going to look at teaching materials / lesson plans, setting up your teaching space, setting up the admin, and how to find your students, and then some best practices about patience, motivation, and systems, just to make everything flow and give your students and clients the best experience possible. And then there's a little bonus thing where I speak about just coaching and masterminds and stuff like that. But let's plow on, because there is plenty of content. We don't want to be wasting any time. As Louis himself says, music is life itself. I think that's nice. It's got a little photo of Kirk Hammett there. So, what is in it for you? The benefits. Moolah. How much can you earn? So the average cost of music lessons in the UK between 2021 and 22 was £36 per hour. So if you work that out, 5 weekly students, 5 weekly hour-long, five hours of teaching a week can earn you £180. That's approximately £780 a month on average. That's not bad. That's really not bad for 5 hours work. That's one evening's work. That's one day's work. It's a Saturday that you're earning that. It's all right. It's not too bad. If you're supplementing that with something else, gigging or something else on the side, you're doing good. You're doing okay. Do you know what I mean? How flexible can it be? Well, can this plug into your life is what you need to ask. So how much time do you have to dedicate? Because then dedicate to teaching, because then that'll tell you what sort of lessons you can do. Can you do group lessons? Can you do one-to-one? Can you do workshops? So workshops can be a little bit more ad hoc. So you could, for example, I saw a really good advertisement the other day for a girl that was teaching you how to, she was going to teach you a song to play and sing on the guitar for your wedding. And that was a 5 or 10 lesson, something along those lines. So that kind of a workshop. That's quite ad hoc. Group lessons and one-to-one lessons are kind of, people will expect that kind of weekly. So you have to figure out, do you want to do, have you got the same time to dedicate every week, and how much of that time do you have to dedicate? Then that'll kind of determine whether it can plug into your life and how it can plug into your life. Transferable skills. So what skills do you already have? So as a musician, you're going to have some music skills. You can't teach a musical instrument unless you can play it yourself. Simple as that. Social skills. Us musicians, as introverted and as kind of shy as most of us are, we're usually quite friendly people. Do you know what I mean? Some of us can be quite bitter and mean and miserable, but most of us are quite friendly people. So we've got really, really good social skills. And because we have to be up to date with like TikTok and slideshows and all this jazz, we're usually fairly computer literate, tech savvy, all that kind of crack. And those are all transferable skills that you can then relate back, that are, well, not even relate back, but that are going to be useful and necessary to begin life as a music teacher, tutor, instructor, whatever you want to call it. What skills are you going to learn? No matter what stage you're at, regardless of whether you're just casual or you're whatever, you're going to need to be organized in some level. So if you're a completely disorganized person, you will have to learn these things, and they will just happen naturally. So don't worry, you will learn these. You're going to have to learn how to sell your services. There's no point in being a music teacher if you can't actually make money off of it. It's the same as marketing. You're going to have to know how to put your service in front of the correct people, and then once those correct people see that service, you're going to have to learn how to sell to them. And this is not a list of homework to do. This is literally just things that you will pick up as you go along. That doesn't mean you have to sit down and learn how to sell, learn how to market before you do any of this stuff. You will pick these things up as you go along. And finally, networking skills. Maybe you're a musician that's already kind of doing all right in the singer-songwriter world, and you want to add tutoring just to keep yourself afloat, just that little bit extra every month. You'll be in a network of singer-songwriters, but there's an entire network over here of musicians that are just teachers that that aren't in that same network, but would have an awful lot of transferable skills. So that is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a skill, and it's well worthwhile. So, as Eddie Van Halen, our Lord and Savior, would say, it's always about the music, never about anything else. Don't know who that is, but yeah, there we go. So, what are the misconceptions or the barriers to entry? What is it that you're telling yourself that makes teaching music not suitable for you? These are some of the ones that I thought before I got into it. I need qualifications. I myself have no qualifications. I have an SVQ3 in social care for children and young people. and I've got a HND, or I studied a HND. Whether I got it in the end is another story. In sound engineering in 2010, 11, and 12. So it's 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and it was out of date within like 6 months because the industry moves so fast. So I basically market myself as having no relevant qualifications. It's completely self-taught. So key areas of concern is that I am self-taught and I don't know the right way to teach. And I have no experience working with kids. So let's address these. So the reality of that is you don't need to have been taught to teach. Anyone can teach as long as they can play the instrument they are teaching, and you teach the way that you do things. You are not teaching guitar to become the next Eddie Van Halen. You are teaching guitar to someone who wants to play Wonderwall. Can you play Wonderwall? Great. Can you sit down for an hour every week? Can you sit down for half an hour every week until that student has Wonderwall figured out? Great. You can teach. It's too difficult. So key areas of concern about teaching being too difficult. You don't know where to start. You only play casually and you're not very organized. All genuine areas of concern. Absolutely genuine areas of concern. But the reality of that is that if you think about how you started, like, do you know what I mean? Think about how you started if you don't know where to start. Did you get a guitar for Christmas and learn off YouTube? Do you know what I mean? If that's what you did, you're one step ahead of that student. There's also plenty of easy and accessible materials available. You can tailor your offer to fit your capabilities. And there is very little organization needed at a fundamental stage. There really, really is. You do not need to be that organized. Yeah. So you basically just offer to teach things the way that you do it. And you can only ever do it that way anyway, regardless. You could be the most highly qualified teacher in the world, and you are not going to teach the same as someone that is. No two people are going to teach exactly the same. So you can only ever do things the way that you do it. And then misconception number 3 is that you have to read music. Here are some famous musicians who never learned to read music. Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Eddie Van Halen, Eric Clapton, Stevie Wonder. I always think when I do this this presentation that people are going to think that I'm making fun of Stevie Wonder, or I'm do you know what I mean? I'm joking because Stevie Wonder can't read music because he's blind. For anyone who didn't know Stevie Wonder is blind, Stevie Wonder is blind, so he can't read music, but he can't read anything. And I'm not having a go. I'm literally just pointing out the fact that he never learned to read music because of the fact that he was blind, but it never held him back. Never, ever held him back. And why should it hold you back? It shouldn't hold you back. You do not have to be able to read music. It helps. I'm not going to lie. It does help when you're teaching 100% because you've got an extra thing there to get your point across. And you've also got an extra thing that you can teach as well, but it's not necessary. Absolutely not essential at all. So get that out of your head. But if you still think that you need to be able to read music, ask yourself these really simple questions. Can you count to 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you know your alphabet from A to G? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Did you know that every good boy deserves food and that FACE spells face? Or did you also know that green buses drive fast always? If that is the case, congratulations, you can read music. Music is literally most music that you listen to. It's 4 times. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that. Simple as that. As long as you can do that, you're golden. The letters from A to G. There are 12 notes in music, in popular Western music anyway. And in most music, I defy anyone to tell me there's more than 12 notes in music that we all hear. But anyway, 12 notes. And they go A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Basically, every letter from A to G has a corresponding sharp, apart from a B and an E. If you can remember that, you're good to go, right? That's it. Every good boy deserves food, that, or football, whatever it is, that's the names of the, the music lines, ledger, staff notation lines, ledger lines, all that kind of crack. That's what the names of the lines are in treble clef. FACE is the spaces, and green buses drive fast always is the lines in bass clef. And if you really wanted to keep going, all cows eat grass is the spaces. And they're called that because FACE, face, spells face. F is the first space. That's an F note. A is the next one. Blah 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 blah. We'll not get too. Well, I've already gotten too far into it. So, but it is as simple as that. As Prince said himself, music is healing. Music holds things together. And there is a lovely little purple drummer who is not Prince. Getting started. So, what do we need to do to get started? Let's have a look. See. So, we have to determine what and who we want to teach. So he wants to teach her, or she wants to teach him. They want to teach each other. Neither of them want to teach either of them. So we need to figure out, first of all, what instruments do you play? Because that is going to determine what instruments you can teach. There's no point in you offering bassoon lessons if you're a ukulele player and you can't play bassoon. Simple as that. I know it sounds really simple, but sometimes people are like, oh, well, what am I going to teach? You're kind of like, well, anywho. So, and then you're going to decide who. So think about, who do you resonate with most in the world? Now, there's loads of training out there to like discover your ideal customer persona, or your ideal customer avatar, whatever you want to call it. But you don't need to do that. You literally just need to think, who is it that you're going to teach? So if you're going down the traditional route of teaching guitar lessons after school, mainly you're going to be teaching kids, maybe some adults, but it's mainly going to be kids. So you have to think about the parents. Who are you going to resonate with? And most times, you're just going to resonate with whoever's going to pay you to start things off. It's as simple as that. And then think about how much effort do you want to put in. Do you want to do it casually? Do you want to make a business out of it? Where are you going to teach? Where are you going to do it? Simple. A very, very simple question. Here's potential teaching locations. Your house, their house, a studio / school, or online. That's fairly straightforward. But let's think outside the box. So there's a hand holding a light bulb outside the box, because he's thinking outside the box. That would be a great catchphrase for young Stephen Mulhern, if Stephen is listening. Hi, Steve. So let's think outside the box, and let's think a little bit more creatively. If you're a singer-songwriter and you have a Patreon, you can leverage your existing fan base with a Patreon, or any sort of like a Patreon, a Buy Me a Coffee, any sort of a gated community. Dare I say, an OnlyFans? Do you know what I mean? OnlyFans is not just for that sort of thing. OnlyFans kind of also, what I believe was started with the aim of it being another sort of Patreon style platform. But you can leverage your existing fans there. You can simply, literally, if you decided you were going to release a new album, you might decide that you're going to, as an extra tier on your Patreon, you're going to offer people a lesson every month, and you're going to teach them a song from your album. If you have 12 songs on your album, you have a year to write the next one before you run out of material. Do you know what I mean? But things like that. And it's so simple to add. And you could charge an extra £5 to £10 a month for people to join in on your guitar lesson of your song. If you've got 100 patrons on your Patreon, and you are going to commit to doing a half-hour live lesson on your Patreon every month for an extra £10 a month, and 10 people join, that's £100 a month for you just doing a half an hour guitar lesson. That's £200 an hour. Do you know what I mean? If you think outside the box just like that. Social media groups. We are currently in a social media group where I am teaching the Music Career Mastermind. You can teach in there. If I could, in theory, you could, in theory, host paid events where people come and listen to talks from people in the industry, or that you're going to, in your gated industry, you could have a gated Facebook group that's part of your teaching, and where you do extra things where people just come and join in, whatever. You can again, live streams, events of album playthroughs and things like that. You can leverage all that with promoting with to your email list and all that. I'll not get too much into that. These are just ideas for teaching outside the box, just for anyone thinking that they might be a little bit restricted with just teaching in their own home, or teaching in a student's home, or online, or in a studio, or something like that. And then we're going to speak. Well, I'm going to have a look at, like, are you going to go down the ad hoc route or the strategized route? So if anyone has ever seen this thing here, this is called the business model canvas. And if you join Business Gateway, which I would advise every single person starting a business, self-employed, solo, or sorry, sole trader, join Business Gateway. It's in Scotland. I believe in the rest of the UK, it's called Elevator, or in Ireland, there is one called Minding Creative Minds, which I am a mentor for, and I'm very proud of that. Yeah, have a Google of them. All sorts of free funded resources for creatives and business people. So that's what the business model canvas is. Let's have a look at ad hoc. So the pros of ad hoc is that there is very little commitment or time investment. You can literally teach what you want, when you want. Doesn't have to be any fixed schedule, little to no admin, big style flexibility. You could literally just decide that, oh, there's a young fella upstairs in my apartment building and they want to learn how to play guitar. I don't know when I'm going to be available, but I'll keep an open line of communication with that sounds very, very formal, but I'll keep the parents in the loop when I'm available and say, right, I'm available tomorrow for an hour. Is John around? Yeah, no bother. £20 cash in hand. Job done. Job done. It's you're earning money, they're getting a service. Simple as that. And then the word might spread that, look, Barry teaches out of his apartment a couple of times a week when he can do it. He's really good or whatever. And there you go. There's your little side hustle sorted. The cons to that is that there's no security. It's very hard to rely on the income because you're not being very reliable in terms of the service, and it's hard to build and maintain a reputation because it is so ad hoc. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just the cons to an ad hoc / casual way of adding tutoring. But then if you go down the strategized or business route, like what I did and set up myself as a music school, well, a solo music teacher and now music school operator, owner, whatever you want to call it. It sounds very high and mighty and lofty when I say it that way, but I don't really know how else to say it in a way that isn't lofty and well-to-do and la-di-da. But there we go. So these are the pros of that, is that eventually you will build up a reliable and secure income stream. And that does not take long. In the grand scheme of things, it does not take long. You will learn new transferable skills that you don't necessarily need to sit. Well, I'll put it this way. I never sat down and studied for my job. I just got on with it and learned on the fly. Things like that are easier to market because it's familiar. People know exactly what to expect. Guitar lessons in your area. If I said that to anyone, they would probably expect, oh yeah, you go around to someone's house for an hour every week and that's it. Do you know what I mean? It's people know what to expect. So it's easier to market that rather than, oh sure, I'll be here this week and I can, do you know what I mean? There's plenty of different business models to take inspiration from. So group lessons, one-to-one lessons, that type of thing, courses, workshops, whatever. And there's lots of options for streamlining and scaling. And I should have in there automating. Automation is your best friend when it comes to the strategized business plan. But we'll get to that in a minute. And the cons is that it's a lot to consider upon initial setup. There's so many things that you need to think of. Are you going, what sort of a model are you going to follow? Where are you going to teach? How are you going to set it up? All that kind of jazz. There's loads of things to think about. Well, not loads of things, but there's far more than just the casual thing. You will be required to be somewhat organized. Definitely more so than casual. You will have to keep a tally of like your students and all that and your finances and all that jazz. You will have to register with HMRC as a sole trader sooner rather than later. And it may require a small financial investment initially if you want to include our friend Mr. Automation, like I was talking about there a second ago, but we'll get to that in a second. As Bruce Springsteen says over a picture of Rob Trujillo from Metallica, the best music is essentially there to provide you with something to face the world with. Bruce. So day one, first day of school. What are you going to do? I'm really sorry if you can hear that. That is my sister deciding to phone me in the middle of a live stream. So day one, first day of school. So teaching materials and lesson plans, what to look for. So you're going to have some sort of a plan in place as to what you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it. Ready-made syllabi are your friend. They are your best friend. Some of the best. It basically takes out all the planning for you. You just simply just follow that. So RSL, Hal Leonard, Trinity, get some stuff from YouTube or online. I'm so sorry people are watching and watching me scratching my nose so much. It is I've got an itchy nose and it's driving me demented. So apologies. Anyone listening to this back on the podcast, you didn't need to hear that. But anyway, there we go. Yes, where was I? Ready-made syllabi for the win. It has lesson plans baked in. Things like that are familiar to clients, and they provide a start and end point so that it's easy to track progression. If you have a book that is a beginner's book, once you get to the end of that, kids know that they're kind of kids can clearly see that they are progressing. Oh, I'm halfway through the book. Oh, where's Johnny? Is he as far in the book as me? Oh, Mary's really far in the book. I may get the finger out. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Yeah, and it's less work for you. It really is less work for you. You can do lesson plans if you really want. Like if you're doing something that is really far out there, you might need to do your own lesson plans. But try and find the stuff yourself first, or try and find already made stuff. Do you know what I mean? Don't reinvent the wheel. What should you have access to in your teaching space? So teaching space is obviously going to look a little bit different depending on whether you're having them at your house, in their house, at a studio or a venue or a school, or if you're online. The things that you should have access to are the teaching materials for starters. So if students are coming to you, make sure that they have their own book to take with them, that kind of a thing. If you're going to them, or if you're online or whatever, make sure that you have access to it as well as them. Simple as that, like simple as that. Backing music and something to play it on. Playing along to a backing track is, in my opinion, the quickest way to get good at playing music. The quickest way to get good at playing music in a very holistic sort of way. It teaches you loads of different skills, not just playing the music. So not just playing the instrument. So making sure that you have access to that backing music. And most of these syllabus that you buy online, they will have backing tracks and stuff like that. So make sure you have access to the backing music and something to play on. A CD player, if it's a CD, or a Bluetooth speaker, or even your phone, if it's loud enough, or an iPad, or something along those lines. You'll also need your instrument and any amplification. So they're like, I once heard a story of a ukulele teacher showing up to a ukulele lesson without their ukulele. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I was speechless then, and I'm still speechless. But you really wouldn't think that had to be explained, but it does. A music stand for kids to have or for students to have their music in front of. There's nothing worse than having to get their brother to hold the book, and the brother standing there for a half an hour, and you're just like, come on, it's a tenner on Amazon. If you're investing in music lessons, or if you're investing in yourself as a music teacher, make sure there's a music stand. Equipment for the students. So if you have them coming to you, have an amplifier ready for them so that they don't need to lug their massive big amp around the place. Make sure that you have some spare drumsticks. Make sure that there is rosin for the violin bows. Things along those lines. Just be prepared. And chairs. Simple as that. Chairs. Make sure they're sitting down and comfortable. What admin is required? So this is a big one. This is a really, really big one that us musicians, like I said at the start, we're often just too creative to function. One of the big things that hold us back is that we don't know what sort of admin is required until all of a sudden we're knee deep in the lack of admin and we don't know what to do. So I'm just going to take a quick sip. Sorry to anyone on the podcast listening to me slurping away on water, but anyway, some of you are into that. It's all good. So what admin is required? Some form of scheduling / attendance taking. Scheduling lessons on a calendar, so you know who's coming and when, and so they know when they're coming and where they're going and stuff like that. And then keeping a record of how often they've been, if they've paid for lessons in advance, if they're paying on the go or whatever, just keep a record of that. Homework or a running record of where students are in terms of their progression. Parents love that. Yeah. Just even pen and paper, easy peasy. The correct insurances. PLI is public liability insurance. PE is professional. It should be PI actually, professional indemnity. Things along those lines. Join the Musicians Union or the ISM. I found the other day, the Independent Society of Musicians. Independent Society of Musicians is actually much cheaper, and there are much more offers. I think it's the same idea, but ISM seems to be a little bit more on the ball. But Musicians Union is fantastic as well. You should have terms and conditions to deter people from not paying on time or not paying in general, a get out clause, things like that. There is nothing worse than chasing invoices. Absolutely nothing, because you feel awkward, and sometimes you just get nasty, horrible people that just don't want to pay for the service, or just don't value or respect the service that you are doing. It's one thing that I get really passionate about, in that just because a lot of people play music as a hobby doesn't mean that our career is not as valuable as and doesn't deserve the same respect as like a plumber or a mechanic or a solicitor or a teacher, an actual school teacher. Do you know what I mean? Or a priest or a God knows what else. Take any profession. We are just as worthwhile and valuable and deserving of respect as any of the rest of those. Having terms and conditions will really drive that home to the client, and hopefully they will respect you enough to adhere to those terms and conditions. And then also you'll need to have some form of payment method for the client to pay you. So whether that's cash in hand, whether that's bank transfer, whether it's whatever. So let's have a look at how we actually do all this. So scheduling and attendance. Use Google Calendar, and then use a notes app. Simple. Or pen and paper, right? Simple as that. For homework or a running record, a notes app, again, you can have just a simple note for John. He's on page thingy, and for next week, he has to have that done. Simple as that. And then you update that next week. Or you just write on pen and paper. The correct insurances and terms and conditions, they can all be found on the Musicians Union or the Independent Society of Musicians. As I said, they've got loads of templates that I still use to this day, even though I'm not a member of the Musician Union anymore, because I am not eligible, because I run a business rather than just being a sole trader. But it breaks my heart on a daily basis. I miss you guys. And payment method can be bank transfer, PayPal, cash, check, favors, whatever you want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that. Or if you want to automate it, My Music Staff. Every single music teacher in the world should use this. I don't care. I'll fight anyone on this. Until I find something better, I will fight anybody on this. This is better than everything. It does everything automatically and just runs your business for you. You're good at playing guitar and teaching guitar. You're good at playing piano and teaching violin. You do not necessarily have to be good at admin. And why would you be good at admin? You didn't spend hours of your life and weeks of your life and so much time of your life perfecting your musicianship to then go and do admin. Just don't do it. Use My Music Staff. I'm happy enough to give any sort of training on that. Reach out to me. Now, you figured all that out. Let's find some students. So where are you likely to find students? So this is really just very, very straightforward. As far as in my opinion, is quite straightforward, but maybe it isn't, and I will just assume that's not straightforward. Facebook business page. Create a Facebook business page. Simple as that. Join Facebook groups, your local buy and sell and community groups. That's where people are looking for these things. Newspapers. Get an article about you in the newspaper saying that, oh, Barry's just started a new music business and he's looking for students. Put your not your credit card, what in the hell, your business card. Maybe put your credit card if you want, really, but not to get students, your business card into local music shops. Join local WhatsApp groups if you can, or you don't necessarily need to join them, but if you know someone that is part of a local parents WhatsApp group, every single class in every single school will have them, and there will be one kind of alpha mother out there that will have access to every single last one of them. Find her, be friends with her, you'll be fine. And in local schools. So, what to say when you're looking for students? Be clear and concise in your message. guitar lessons available. 6 to 7-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? There's no, you cannot mix that up. You read that and it says guitar lessons available for 6 to 7-year-olds. You're not going to go and think that it's karate for old age pensioners. Do not feature bash. Nobody cares that you have got the best degree in the world, or you've got a PhD in how to teach guitar. Nobody cares. All people care about is if is are you sound? Are you going to teach them how to play guitar? Yes, and yes, grand. That's it. So what, where, when, who, and the cost. Simple as that. Include a call to action. A call to action is anything like click here to sign up, email us to sign up, things like that, and use an eye-catching graphic. People are scrolling. It takes, I don't know what the actual numbers are. I may look it up, but like think about if you're scrolling through TikTok, how long do you think you take to decide whether you're going to stick around and watch that 5-second video? It's that. So you need something that's going to catch people's eyes. Here is an ad that we use to fill a class. New class on Thursdays. The class is on Thursdays. Lovely. It's a new guitar class starting this Thursday at 4:30. I don't think there's any mistake in that, unless you saw that 6 months later, in fairness, but hey ho. Secondary school age students, 12 to 16. Fair enough. It's at the Cults Parish Church, North Hall. That's where it is. £15 per session. Message us or register below. I think that's fairly straightforward. There's no, I think everybody has all the information there that they need. It's got an image of young Matthew there, and it says learn guitar in Cults. I think that speaks for itself. I hope it does. And then this is my daughter Erin. When she was a couple months younger, she's nearly 1 now, which is breaking my heart. And she's got little pigtails in all the time, and it's adorable. But this one was for a different, the original Cults class that we done. Anyone local will know what I mean. So guitar lessons for kids. Whereabouts is it? Cults. What time is it? When is it? What day of the week is it? How much? And suitable for then. Register there or send us an email. Simple as that. And the eye-catching graphic was Erin, because babies are cute. And this is what that looked like when you were scrolling. So obviously you'll see the guitar lessons for kids would have been all you saw, and then underneath that it would have been like read more or see more, something like that. And then you'll see the little photo of Erin, and that is usually enough to make someone stop, even for just long enough that they understand what the message is. If they scroll on, then that's fine, they're not your customer, but it's enough to stop people. Billy Joel. Musicians want to be the loud voice for so many quiet hearts, and James Hetfield is that loud voice. I have no idea why I chose so many ads from Metallica when I was doing this, when I haven't mentioned Metallica once, but you listen. And that is basically it. So let's talk about some best practices and what you should do just to make sure that your service is as good as it possibly can. So remember to be patient. Students may only want to learn for themselves or their parents. So be clear on your expectations. What I mean by that is that some students might just want to be able to play guitar so they can sit in their room and play Wonderwall, and that's grand. Or some students, like kids, have no interest in playing music and they're only there because their parents have sent them. So don't go too hard on them. Just, do you know what I mean? Be clear on what their expectations are and what your expectations are of them. Take nothing for granted. What is obvious to you may not be obvious for the student. I once had a child try to play guitar up here like this. So I said, put your finger there. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So anyone listening on the podcast, basically trying to play guitar completely and utterly upside down. Take nothing for granted. Absolutely nothing for granted. Make sure you encourage the wins and support the losses. A win could be something as simple as putting your guitar into your gig bag correctly at the end of the lesson. That is so trivial, but sometimes you just have to find the best in something. Sometimes you just do, and support the losses. Don't make them feel bad because they can't get it. Encourage them to get it the next time. Motivation. How do you keep your students motivated? So your student is a person with likes, dislikes, and an entire personality and life outside of lessons. That is so important to know. get to know your students. Literally really get to know, ask them about their life. How was school today? How was oh, did you go out at the weekend? Whatever you find common ground on, get to know them. You can motivate them then like that. I've got one little kid, he's a legend, and he comes in here and sometimes he gets frustrated, but he loves tuna sandwiches. It's like it's his favorite thing in the world to talk about. At least with me, anyway, it is. And if he gets frustrated, I'll be like, "How many tuna sandwiches did you have for your lunch today?" He's like, 19. And I was like, "Amazing. Were they in triangles or squares?" And he's like, "They were in circles." Savage. And then that just brings him back down to earth, and he's ready to go again, and it motivates him. So just don't forget that your student is a person. They're not a student. They're only a student for the half an hour that they're here with you every week. They're a person for the other rest of the time. Um, Set achievable goals. There's no point in setting a grade 8 piece for a student that is literally only playing 2 weeks. That might seem obvious, but also be mindful, going back to what I'm saying about patience, that their expectations, they might only be there because they're being forced to be there. So just make sure you set achievable goals. And games are easy to find and implement. I often include brain breaks with some of my students that are maybe that little bit younger, because it's hard for them to sit and concentrate on something that, even especially if they don't want to be there. A brain break can be something as simple as playing a music theory game. Boom cards are a really good one. You can find boom cards online if you Google it. And there's games that will help them learn music theory, and they really, really work. And kids don't even realize that they're learning. It's a bit sneaky, I suppose, but you listen, it works. And then some systems. What systems should you have in place? So we're back to being organized. So having a lesson layout, like I'm talking about. So if you had a 45-minute lesson, for example, 15 minutes of practice, a 10-minute brain break / game, and then 20 minutes back to practice and learning. That is, I think, more than adequate. It's absolutely fine. It just means that you're not focusing on if someone's getting stuck at something. If someone gets stuck 5 minutes into a 45-minute lesson, then they're going to have a miserable 40 minutes. So by having some sort of a lesson layout for that sort of situation, it can really help. Make sure that the student has their own materials so that they can practice at home, or practice when you're not there, whatever. And you can also make little notes on the book as you go along, and taking lesson notes. I feel it's important. It lets the student know what your expectations are of them in case you forget. And it'll keep you right as well. If you get up to 40, 50 students a week, you can't keep on top of where all of them are. They all could be on completely different, every single one of them could be on different levels. It's unlikely, but it could very well be. They could be at different stages, and it's going to be impossible for you to keep up with all of that. That being said, that is my 5 steps. Let's have a talk really quick about what I mentioned at the start about a bonus. So getting a coach. For the longest time, I felt like a musician trapped in a lay person's body. And my aim now is to help musicians and other musical entrepreneurs and creatives monetize their skill set in order to unlock their full potential and create, build, or kickstart a sustainable and profitable career with music. I do that by working one-to-one with people who want to add teaching as a revenue stream. That is literally my business. If that sounds like you, if you are a musician and you feel trapped in a 9-to-5 lifestyle like I did for years, I worked in jobs that I just wasn't very good at, didn't want to do, had no interest in being there, only wanted to play music, but couldn't really get my head around how to make music my full time. I've been there. I've done it. I've been in trouble in jobs. I've nearly lost jobs. I've done everything, and I've managed to turn it around. I am here to help you. Reach out. Download my free music career roadmap in the description of this video, or www.onelabmusic.com/roadmap. You'll find that there, or you can reach out to me, Barry at onelabmusic.com, via Dowell email. Masterminds. This is a mastermind. You are currently in the Music Career Mastermind on Facebook. So joining a mastermind group is a great way to boost your network. Remember, we were talking about network earlier on, with the right type of people. So there's no point in you building up your network for singer-songwriters if you want to teach people how to play metal guitar. See where I'm going? You can start a mastermind by setting up a group chat of like-minded musicians, or joining a group singing course. Wherever people like you are hanging out, that's where you want to be. No man is an island. No person is an island, no woman is an island, no anything is an island except an island. And you will be amazed at the level of influence a group of your professional peers can be. And I cannot stress that enough. So that's it. That is my little presentation. I hope you found this presentation useful and that you're able to implement the lessons that I've tried to teach. Nothing here is rocket science or unachievable. It just requires a little bit of get up and go is all it is. Anybody can do this. It's the most cliched thing in the world to say, but I promise it is so true in this case that if I can do this, anybody can. Literally anybody can. And I can help you do that. As I said, I would love to be part of your team and help you kickstart your music career. So I'm inviting you to join me in my private community, my private coaching community, where I dive into the details of this presentation through one-to-one training videos, courses, live calls, and support from myself. And as I said, you can download my music career roadmap in the description of this video, or head to onelabmusic.com/roadmap or onelabmusic.com in general, just to have an owl look around. And there we are, back to the very, very start. So if there are no questions or anything to add from the people watching live, then I'm going to have a very, very quick sup just to give people a chance to join in. I think we'll sign off there, lads. Thank you very, very much for listening to me. I will see you in May. Follow me on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. It's all One Lab Music. You'll find it. There's not too many of us. As far as I know, I'm the only One Lab Music in the world. And who would want another one of me? Listen, best of luck. I'm hoping to hear from you very, very soon. And I'll see you in the next one.